Um, hello. I don't know what I don't know what you guys want me to do. Uh, I don't know how to fix the situation otherwise. Yeah, because when I saved this, also I can still hear myself first. I don't know why. Um, I don't know why it's doing that though. Am I on speaker? Then it's because your mic input is too sensitive, I think. But I'm sorry. They won't hear it on the stream. It's actually just for me. I just don't want it to be annoying for you guys. Okay, so, what kind of specs do you need to know about my laptop? Oh, yeah, I don't know, and I don't know. How do I check that? Like Intel Inside 4 i7? Yeah, sadly. Okay, I've got 8 gigs of RAM. What else do you want to know? Then yeah, I mean, I've got a pretty good laptop. It's a gaming laptop. But the reason I got that is so I could stream. What? You can't just say holy shit and then shut up. Yeah. Alright, well, whatever. Let's just get to drawing because we wasted so much time. So, we're just looking at the sky. We're not looking at the clouds right now. The sky is this color. Um, I have a very special brush I made where it makes it so the pressure sensitivity is relative to how hard I'm pressing on it. There's this small kind of bit where it's getting with yellow, and because there's a reflection, it also shows up underneath. So the horizon line, actually, you know what makes this easier to understand is like you're kind of making a mirror image like this. So you want to mirror both sides. A cheap way out of it would just be to draw the whole thing and then um, flip it. So now it gets darker. It gets a darker blue. So this is good. I also don't like to use eyedroppers because I like to make my own colors. I feel like it's a lot better for you as an artist if you don't rely on like a fucking color wheel or whatever. If you can mix your own colors in Photoshop, then I feel like, or in any art program, then I feel like you've got a good chance of being better at it if it was like paint or something in real life. But, it depends. You don't have to do what I say. I'm just kind of, like, I do know a lot though, so I think at least listening to my advice. But you're in my stream, so you know that I'm right about something. So we're just adding some darkness, and you just kind of slowly add it. I feel like Bob Ross right now. And get the devil out of it. This kind of goes up here. The sun is setting, like, right in this area. I'm going to put some orange in it. The sun's setting right about here. It's brighter than that. This color. Another thing I would suggest, if you are having a hard time getting things vibrant, and I don't normally do this, but you can use the dodge tool to make things like kind of more vibrant like that. But it really just highlights it. It doesn't make it more saturated. If you want to make something more saturated, like let's say we want to make this more saturated with like you make a nice bright fucking orange like this. See how bright that orange is? But you don't want it to be super dark compared to this. So you make that. You make like a little area right here. And then you can create Cookie Mask and go through the layer options. Now, it's not going to be darken or multiply. There's color burn, linear burn, darker color, lighten, screen, color dodge. Just go down the list. Overlay might be a good one. Let me see. Overlay is usually a good one, but there's also soft light and hard light. Hard light looks kind of accurate. Red light, linear light, pin light, blah 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 blah. But there's also this one, saturation. Okay. I feel like saturation is a good one to use here. You can also add a little more like that. Maybe hue. No, not hue. I lied. Where'd it go? Yeah, luminosity is not. So we're going to just use saturation. Do anything. I didn't do enough. I'm not using my light. I'm just going to do some of this real quick. And that made it pretty bright. I'm going to go back to very light yellow. But I don't want it to be like too yellow. In fact, this is so hard to explain. I want it vivid, but also very light. Does it make sense at all? I know, it looks like a weird egg for some reason. Turn the opacity down just a bit so you don't see these brush strokes. No, brush strokes. Now I've got that. So let's go back to the blue. Alright, so this whole area is going to be kind of in that blue range. Not terrible. As it goes higher up, it's farther away from the sun. I don't think I should have to explain that to adults. I'm making the opacity lighter as well so that it blends because, as I'm sure you know, like, if there's no clouds in the sky, it's basically like a very nicely airbrushed color thingy. I was gonna fuck this up because this is supposed to stay a little bit blue out here. But it's alright. There's no problem with having it go back. Alright, so let's do our darkest color, which is going to be quite dark and slightly, and like an indigo. I'm going to drop the flow and the opacity so when I start adding color where it should be, it's not too dark all of a sudden. And if you notice, I'm not super following this as close as maybe you guys could/should, because the great thing about organic landscapes like this is that nobody's gonna know if you fucked up. Like, maybe the sun was in the middle this whole time rather than off to the left. Are they gonna know? No, they're not gonna know. Maybe your mountains aren't the right angle. Who's gonna know? Nobody. Just you. And that's fine. So that's one reason why I really like doing landscapes, because they're easy and they're very forgiving. Like your mom. Oh. Yeah, sorry. I'm just gonna lighten it up a bit more. Nope, they're sweet potato chips. I fucking love sweet potatoes. And sorry, I didn't actually get to finish eating my lunch, so. Okay. I just want to make sure this looks perfectly blended out. Now, something you can do if you don't trust how well you blended something is to take advantage of the Photoshop filters. So, we're going to go to the filter gallery. And, let's see. This is, for example, okay, I don't know why did it do that? Hold on, oh, okay, that explains a lot. I didn't realize I was on a different layer. I thought they were on the same layer, which is what I meant to do. Excuse me. Okay, let's do this now. Let's look at the filter gallery. So, for example, there's this, which is colored pencil. I don't know why it's only picking up some of this, but whatever. Let's not do that one. Cut out. You can make it look like a poster board. That's what this one's for. Sometimes dark strokes. There's this, fresco, dry brush. This isn't a terrible looking one. But that's not what we're looking for. I don't know why this is there. It's hideous. Why is there black on this? It's fucking weird shit. Anyway, we're not doing that. We're gonna do this. Filter, blur, and what you want for this is a Gaussian blur. I don't know if I'm saying that right. I don't care. Because this thing will basically what would I want? This thing will blur it out very well, so it's like an average color. So as you add more to it, you can see the details kind of going away. I'm not using that. I just want a nice blur. I don't know. I'm not really seeing a big difference in this. Like, what's the difference between this and what I have? Yeah, that didn't do much. Anyway, I was trying to save time. Instead of going to the actual blur tool, put it on 100 strength, and you just kind of blur it out a bit. Mostly for the blue area, really. You just kind of, you don't want the airbrushing to look like it's been airbrushed. You want it to look very, can't think of the right word. Okay. I'm sorry if I'm going too slow for you, but I don't know, you guys aren't really giving me a lot to work with right now. So let's find a fun brush. I have a lot of brushes. Let's see. I'm trying to find a good one. What does this one look like? We're gonna put our clouds in. Now, what you might think you should do is put in the pink, but the pink is actually highlight. So the cloud itself is a very dark blue/purple. So that's what we're going to be doing first, is a dark blue/purple. And you can go in and do something like this. Like, you probably don't have the same brush presets I do, but you can find them. Brush presets make things look very easy. This one actually looks like a watercolor brush. Like you're actually working with the shit. And I think having some high quality brushes like this make landscape painting super easy or super easier. Because if you don't know how to do landscape painting already, it's not going to be super easy for you. So that's what I'm trying to teach. What? What? I'm hungry. Like I can't put my mic anywhere any much higher up my face than it already is, so you'll be able to hear me. Okay. So there's options like this one for presets, but I'm gonna use a brush that I believe comes with. It's not this one. You can do it with a round brush, but I wanted to teach you guys like faster than that because it should not be a multiply. I don't know. This is a brush that I think comes with Photoshop, or it's one you can download for free. The brush presets I have are not free. So you can just use one of these. Use like a darker color to put in like some of this, because clouds have shadows. This cloud I'm working on right here is too big. Not a little bit. I'm just going to do this as fast as I can. And if you're paying attention, good. If not, well, you can find it later. That is not what I wanted. I'm trying to get rid of some of the stuff here. I don't think I'm even helping you guys, just because you don't sound very interested. I don't know, just let me know. Okay, so you're watching, you just don't have much to say otherwise. Is the what? Yes, I'm fixing it. I told you. Yes, I told you, if you were listening, that we're doing the shadow of the cloud first. The pink is the highlights of the cloud. The indigo over here is more of the cloud being kind of dark. We're fixing it, don't worry. You just have to like watch how it's done. You are not listening to me. The cloud up here is bright pink. It will be bright pink. But before you put highlights on it, you have to draw the cloud out. I don't get why you don't understand that. The purple, I just like it's in between the blue and the pink, and I just went with the purple first. You don't want to do the highlight of. Okay, let me put it this way: when you are coloring a pony, what is the first thing you do? You lay down the flat colors. Am I right? That's what this is. No, you're not listening. I know you aren't. Okay, I don't want steam. Fuck off. Okay, let me explain this again. When you draw a pony or a human, you lay down the flat colors, not the highlight. The highlight on the clouds is bright pink. Sorry, I don't know why Steam is doing that. The highlight on these clouds is bright pink. You don't start out with the bright pink, because then you're going to be wondering, well, where the hell do I put the rest of the cloud? Like, this, you don't do that. We're going to make it pink, okay? Can you just trust me on that? It's going to look like the cloud here. If you if you knew what you were doing, you wouldn't be asking me to do this. So I'm just saying, like, just, I know you don't understand. That's why I'm telling you, like, to just watch. Sorry. I don't know. I've been really irritable all day, and I apologize. I've had a very stressful month. Um, like with school and stuff. I have a friend that's dying of cancer. I have another friend that's trying to kill himself with alcohol poisoning, literally. Um, my mom and my grandma or my mom's homeless. Like, I can't even go into everything that's going on with me right now. So I'm sorry. I'm not trying to take my stress out on you. But I'm just, like, I'm doing this as, like, something to help me, because I like teaching people shit. And you have to listen to the teacher or you're not going to learn. Just because you think you can look at something and replicate it like me, you probably can, but you want to replicate it the correct way. The clouds I'm making are like this. Like, these are the clouds. When I go to add the highlights, just so you can understand, I'm going to make a clipping mask. I'm going to get out this bright ass pink, and I'm going to be over here. Wow, look at this. Putting the highlights on the pre-made cloud. Okay, then what don't you understand? Because this is what I... Yes. Oh, I just haven't gone, because I haven't got there yet. It, the color I make the cloud does not matter at all. And the reason it doesn't matter is because of this. Because you can, no matter what, I can just go over it. So right now I'm just making a cloud shape. I just chose this color because it's easier to see over blue. It's easier to see the purple over blue, instead of dark blue over kind of darker blue. It's like when I fill in flat. Okay, well, it's no silver thing. It's like when you take a pony, and to make sure you you have all the flat colors right. Let's say the pony is a cream color and the background is white. You should draw the pony in with like a bright teal or something, because you can see, just in case, where the lines might be in or out. So then, once you're finished, you recolor the teal into the cream color that the pony's supposed to be. Does that make sense? Exactly, that's why you're watching me, because I knew what I was doing. So that's why, like, some stuff the isn't the color you would expect it to be. But also, there is purple up here. But the mid-tone is kind of purple. The shadow is dark blue. It's not pink on dark blue. It's pink that transforms into some purple and then onto the dark blue. But the mid-tone of the kind of purple, like there's not a ton of it, but it's still there. And when I shade it, I'm going to be shading it with the dark blue, so that it's mostly going to be bright pink and dark blue with, some purple. Okay. Matter of but I'm also, like I said, I'm just very irritable due to stress. So, I was trying to explain it best I could without being a fucking bitch about it. And don't say, like, yeah, you were being a bitch, because that's how you don't get me to keep doing this. That's how you scare me away. And it's like, well then, fine, fuck y'all. I'm just gonna do this by myself. And be like, oh, look at all these landscapes I can draw. Another thing you can use for the clouds, this is important, is the smudge tool. Now, what you might be thinking about it is that it just smudges like this, like, ooh, wow, it's not what you want. You want it to smudge like a cloud. So, you pick something that looks like a cloud, like a brush that looks like a cloud, which, here's the actual brush we're using. And you can kind of, you can make it smudge like cloud instead of using like a round brush. Again, you can still use a round brush to do all of this, all of it. But I mostly am trying to teach you colors and just how to make them in general, whether you're using the same brush presets, the same software as me, all of that. So now, like I'm doing this because there's, I don't know, too much cloud over there, for example. Would you fuck me? I'd fuck me. I'd fuck me hard. I'd fuck me so hard. Nipples with a ring. Close to being done. Let me hide my phone. Something I know. Something I don't remember very well. It's me. Eyes at the box. And they tell me, God, you. So then, now they'd fuck me. I'd fuck me too. I'd fuck me, fuck me, black and blue. Billy's the kid. Or, This castle is something blah 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 blah. I'm not really good at that one. I like to do the one where it's Agent Starling singing, because her voice is really fun. What are you telling me? Oh, I'll see you. Yeah, I guess I've been streaming for, I don't know, 2 hours at least. But like we spent an hour just getting everything set up and fixing shit. So I think what I'm going to do is just very quickly finish this. Okay, so there's some clouds. We're going to do the highlights. So here's some highlights for the cloud. You don't need full opacity for this, especially if you're only using a round brush. Your light source is this thing, like where the sun is, you know, that kind of orange spot. Pretty much all this here is going to be highlighted. And again, the nice thing about landscapes is that unless you post a picture of exactly what you used, nobody's gonna fucking know that you fucked something up. Like, nobody's gonna know that I didn't include a cloud over here or there. Maybe you guys might because you watched me do this. But in general, no. Also, it looks like it's just you and me now, Steven's Gall. My friend Parsley is there too, but he doesn't really draw. He's just kind of... What? What party? No, is there an ad? Can you... Oh, wow. Well, obviously... Which is stupid, because, like, I'm in California. Yeah. Let me see. Uh, Let me see if I can log in real quick. Oh, that's not my name. It's MC Dramas. That's my name. There we go. Now we can... Hopefully... Nope, I guess not. Huh. Well, the person's already gone, but I think I can, Ardosh Shoot? No, that's somebody else. Okay, Inag Radio. I need to get rid of that guy because, he's not a real person. Shit. Well, I'm sorry, I don't know how to, delete that message. Oh, you know why? Because he's not actually signed in. Alright, well, I'm sorry about that. Alright, let's go back to finishing this fucking thing. There's also areas where the highlight's not going to be super bright, which is why I made things like purple in the first place. Some of these you can do very hard edged clouds, like where I'm putting them now. But it's kind of about the flow and the opacity. You kind of have to bring it down a bit. Okay, so some of the color is a little orange, although still being bright pink. So there's kind of highlights on the highlights. What is this? Let me see. It's not the color I want. But when you get close down there, you want to get low opacity, low flow, and like the closer you are to the sun, and because some of the clouds will be that color, the highlight anyway, because it's the sun, and the sun isn't pink, it's orange, or yellow, depends on what's doing. So there's that. I'm going to spread some of this around. But I'm lazy. I don't feel like doing whatever else. I'm also going to make some extra clouds that I did not make earlier, like these ones down here that need to be kind of blended into there. There's these ones that need to be put in as well, like kind of just these smaller little clouds are that aren't even big enough to really warrant having a shadow even. No. Steamed clams. Yep, we're gonna listen to that. Although I'm not sure you can even hear. Oh, good. Here we go. The flare flare. Alright, I can fix it. I turned off the speaker audio for you, so you can hear me over it. But here you go.
Oh no!
Steam clam roasting more red. Steam ham
Oh yeah, there we go.
Yep. Delightful, devilish Seymour. Seymour. I was just protecting my calves all over the place. So I still love your exercise. Everybody. What is Oh, Steve. Oh, I mean, nope, that's an all the expression.
You know, these hamburgers are quite some of them. They have a crusty burger. For steamed ham. Steamed ham. Yes, we call them steamed hams. Despite the fact they are obviously grilled.
One thing I
You steamed ham.
it's Skinner burgers. Oh no!
There's also little places you should put some of this in. I mean, I hope you're still watching what I'm doing. Oops.
Yes.
Okay. It's time for it. No. Alright, so I've since added to some of the background color in some places where it's been kind of where it should have been anyway. Some of the clouds are like this. They're not quite as I don't know, as super detailed because they're a bit thingy. Like you see the clouds to the lower left area on the reference pic. There's some that kind of go through it like this, and then there's still like some kind of yellow around it, as well as some blue. So I'm trying to recreate that. And there's some places like this where the clouds are not quite super dark. But I can always also do this because underneath it's the correct sky color. Just to kind of open it. Alright, now we're going to do Steven Seagal's favorite part, where we go in with the dark blue and we shade the clouds because I know he's just been jerking off waiting for it. Oh, it's from my goddamn. One of my cats is being a very needy bitch. I don't know where she gets it from.
So now I can hear myself, and it's like seriously 10 hours later than when I say it.
Huh? What is it?
So when I say something, I can now hear it back on the stream, but it's delayed very
Oh yeah,
badly.
because you keep saying.
Yeah, I just now turned it off. So you shouldn't be able to hear yourself anymore. Can you just stop rubbing your ass on my arm, please? My cats are quite disrespectful. Thank you. Alright, so I'm going to take the darkest purple color, which is this, and I'm going to go in and remove some of the pink with it. And some of those areas are going to be replaced with a dark blue, and some are actually going to be replaced with this sky blue color, if you remember from earlier. And again, I'm sorry this has been taking so long. It's been a while since I've streamed, so I kind of forgot how speed works. And here's our indigo Montoya. And it's going to come down strong from upper right, I mean. And it will be more blue and actually lighter than this in a second. Just want to make sure I've got the pieces the correct color. I think my other favorite steamed clams meme is the one where somebody actually made it into the song from Les Mis, where it's Javert talking to let's see his name, Jean Valjean, where he's talking to Jean Valjean. And it's what? I don't know what you just said, buddy. Yes, that's Les Miserables, and That's a song sung by Jean Valjean, and that's called Who Am I? Who am I? Oh, yeah, that's a great one. Have you seen that one, Steven Seagal? By the way, Parsley, this is the real Steven Seagal. Sorry. I know. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he doesn't have that kind of an accent, though, but, whatever. If he's, like, trans Seagal, that's fine. I'm not gonna, jump down his throat about that. Yeah, he's just such a good actor. He can pull off, like, any fucking accent possible. How do you feel about the clouds and where they're going now, uh, Mr. Seagal, sir? Is this more to your liking? Good. We're gonna we're gonna put some wind in here now because there's always, there's wind. Okay, this is too strong. This is a very I don't know why, but I'm having a hard time doing this part where I'm just trying to fucking just fuck it all, fuck it all. Don't give a shit anymore. Fuck it all, fuck it all. And slam the door. Except I obviously do care, because why would I still be doing this fucking stream? This. Oh, it is. I see what I did there. So, since I don't personally, like, no offense, you don't draw, my buddy. However, I do appreciate you coming in and supporting me. Yeah, But, to you, Sir Steven Seagal, has this helped at all? He made a noise. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. How you do? Yeah. I would agree. The only thing I would add to that is that if you learn it from a certain person, you might do it the same as somebody else who has also learned it from that person. Like, there are people who I've taught how to draw ponies that draw them like I do, or break them down how I do because I taught them that, for example. Or there are people who draw, that do live, they draw naked people live, like live gesture drawings, that's what I'm trying to say. Completely different how I have, because we were taught different ways of approaching anatomy. And that's kind of what this is. This here, this right here, is anatomy. It's just the anatomy of, like a cloud, for example. I'm gonna throw in some mountains. Those will be, yeah. Clouds have anatomy. They have certain distinct features. I will go over that in a couple minutes. Okay, I'll show you. I'll show you what I mean by clouds have anatomy. But trust me, clouds have anatomy. Just because it's not like a living thing doesn't. Yeah, trees have anatomy too, and like that's, trees are living things, so you should understand that. It's a different shaped thing. This is excuse me. This brush right here I like to use for making, excuse me, like mountains. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. I am sorry for my hiccups. I get hiccups sometimes and they last for far, far too long. Feel free to laugh at me. Or don't. I'd prefer. Yeah, I'd prefer if you don't laugh at me. Because, I mean, I have plenty of reasons. Or in the future, I can think of reasons, rather, to laugh at you. That wasn't a threat. But it kind of sounded like one. Alright, so you know what? No, they're not completely perfect clouds. Right now, Steven, right now I'm using a round brush. But it's pressure sensitive, so I can make it dark and light and thin and light, or I can make it very thick, like I just now did. That's my favorite brush to use, actually, for coloring and doing line art. I'm going to do what I told you guys not to do. So first, I'm going to do this. So now the sun. Huh? What's your question? Alright. I'm going to do something that I told you guys not to do, just because it's been a long time and I want to let you guys go, and also so I can get something to eat. Because despite getting lunch, I didn't get to eat it. So, because the bottom, we are going to flip it. So what I did was I made a copy, and then I cut it off around the horizon line, and we're going to just flip it. But I just want you to know that I don't normally do this. And that didn't, I hit the wrong button. There we go. So just hold down the shift key and bring it down. So now, because there's water, but also the water has some color to it. So the first thing we're going to do is go to color balance. Now this is another one where you can control the colors and you can control like shadow, midtones, and highlights. So I would say our highlights are still in the yellow area. I'm just going to add a little more yellow to them. And then the midtones, also some yellow and some red. Yeah, because I'm trying to create this color down here. And our shadows are... Wait, they're not. They're blue. Yeah. And some cyan. And so I got two midtones. And it's totally blue. Highlight some teal. Right. There's that red. No, it's too much red. I don't want that. Add a little bit of green. Sorry, I'm just like trying to talk while I do this. Actually, that's pretty good. I just kind of make it slightly more cyan. Cyan. Oh, it's a photograph my dad took. You might not have been there when I said that. But my dad took the photo that we're using. Yeah, no shit. Let me show you the other. You know, nobody calls it that here, right? Everyone says Van Gogh, not fuck off. Well, you know, it's not. But it might remind you just purely because... No, I know, I don't care. I'm just telling you how Americans say it. No, listen to me for a second, okay? It doesn't matter what you call him. I don't care, honestly. Like, I don't pick a side. I'm just saying America says Van Gogh. And I know it's incorrect because he's, what do you call it? From Holland, right? He's Dutch, right? Yeah, so I understand that. It's just in general, Americans don't like to. It's like, ugh, like, what the fuck is that? That's not my America, etc. And I know Americans can be like fucking annoying. I'm just telling you how what it's like. Okay, come on, I just want to fucking do this shit. Oh, I should have done that in the first place. I'm just trying to make it like... I'm sorry, I'm just trying to make it look a lot like the bottom of the other one, where it's kind of more red and kind of more green in general. So let's just do this, okay? This is red and green. Highlights, greenish, and reddish, but it's also cyan-ish, yellowish, but thin doesn't matter as well. I'm going to be... Yes, I will be doing that as well. I should have just done that first. But the thing is, the bottom one has more red and more green. So what I really should have done is go here, go to the red channel, add some red, take out some blue, and then go to green and add some green, so that now you see how the bottom looks more red instead of pink, and the blue looks slightly more green. That's what I was trying to do. And then now I am going to be desaturating it. Not by too much though. Make it a little darker. And let's see which direction. Just like that. Do one more thing. This again. I really like that color scheme on the bottom actually. These are some colors I like. And flip this bitch again. Photoshop, you know exactly what I wanted to do, piece of shit. Bring this up here. Press shift to hold it in place. Okay. Now, there. So it's a little better. I don't know. I can also go through the layers. Oh, that's very close. Yeah, I like that. Why did you do that? Why did you do this? Whatever. Okay, there's that. Yeah, it's actually better. Okay, so on a new layer, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to put in some reddish orange that's kind of dingy. It's a dingy reddish orange. And it's going to be a clipping mask on top of the lower half. And I have done this. For good reason. We're going to flip through some of these layer mechanisms, or whatever, preferences to get the right color. Sometimes the problem with these is that it's kind of close. Influence the color a bit. Sometimes the problem with layer thingies is trying to get just like the perfect blend of something. I don't know how to explain it. This is pretty good though. Because, I mean, you can see in the top one and the bottom one, the top one is definitely has more magenta in it, and the bottom one doesn't. And I think something else I can do. Yeah, it works. Take the kind of greens over here. some of this shit so that the red stays red, but like the blue areas turn more blue in general. And kind of remind me. I know this looks probably a bit extreme from how it looks in the picture, but I want it to look different enough where you can tell it's water. And now that we've got that out of the way, we're going to do something. We're going to, is that better? Yeah, let's see. Boop, boop, boop. Yeah, I like that better. Okay. Let me add some red. Very light red. Because there is more red in here than I thought. This is all red down here because you can see over here that the sand stuff is kind of breaking through to the other side. To the other side. Okay, I'm going to make this a lighter color in general because we're going to put the mountains in as well. This should also be close to the back. I'm also going to do this. Alright, get rid of the horizon line. Okay, so now we need to make the bottom look like it's water instead of just a flip. So there are several presets you can use to do this where it'll just create it for you. Let's see. I'm trying to find the easiest way to do this so you can finish. No, that's not what I want. This is something you're going to want to do with the smudge tool, actually. And the smudge tool has some good options. Something like this looks like it would work. I don't know. Because, oh, it actually does kind of work. That's weird. I'm just smudging it. It looks like water. I mean, it's like kind of a too obvious water though. So now you might want to go in. Yeah, it is like ripples. And I'm going to go like here where it should be like bright red, according to the thing. And put in some hand strokes. By which I mean, you know, strokes made by hand. Brighter colors. Right here, there should be that weird sand thing popping up. I just realized though, my horizon line is way too high up. Oh, I don't do this shit anymore. So you want to keep with the theme of the ripples, but at the same time, you want them to look more natural. And the farther the ripples get, the less ripply they appear. So like back here, you shouldn't really see the ripples, really. But it should blend together well anyway. And then up close, you're going to see the ripples. So like up here, definitely ripples. Big ripples. Alright, let's just put in. Another thing that I don't feel like I'm doing correctly is values. I'm going to use this brown, but it's not the color it's supposed to be. Fix a couple things where it should be a little brighter down here. Again, trying not to make some parts too ripply. Ripples are actually very easy to draw with a round brush. Because ripples aren't actually shaped things. Ripples are horizontal lines, basically, unless you're drawing like ocean waves, which we are not doing. And we're almost done. Actually, this should be lighter down here, I think. Just a bit lighter. In general. Just because of this should be like that. Alright, we're going to now draw. Oh shit, I almost threw that layer away. Now we're going to draw the mountains, which are ridiculously easy. So we're going to take that horizon line. It's black right now. We're going to make it a dark blue because nothing in here is really black. And almost nothing in here is really brown. It's mostly like pinks and blues and purples and light yellows. So I'm going to use like this indigo color we have. And again, this is, no, let's do this the right way, please. There we go. This is one of those things that if nobody's watching you do it, they're not going to know if you're doing it wrong. So your mountains can be whatever you want them to be, just like Bob Ross says. So I'm not even zoomed in, as you can see, and I'm just, kind of making shapes that are similar in appearance to what the picture has. And after that, I'm going to just cut them down a bit and add some body instantly. Let's go up here a bit. We're going to change the color, don't worry. I know you're about to say something about it, Steven Seagal, but that's... No, just wait a minute. This is not the final shape for the mountains, and it is not the final color. And, okay. The only reason I'm bringing that up is because you like to ask questions before I get to the part that you want to ask about. And it's funny because I do the same thing myself. I do it in art class all the time, and I think it really bothers my teachers. And I'm pretty sure it does, because when other people do it to me, I'm like, well, if you just give me a fucking second, I'll show you how to do it. It's like, oh, I'm sorry, I just like so many questions, so, like, don't feel too bad, man. I do the same shit. Alright, so, we have our mountains, for the most part, good the fuck enough. So, they're going to now be colored. And for that, we're just going to use a very light airbrush, soft airbrush, slightly lower opacity and flow. The darkest part is going to be like a dark indigo, kind of like the clouds. You remember? I'm sure you remember. So you do this as they get there. Around here, you want to put a little bit of atmospheric perspective. So, like, you see how the clouds are kind of, or I'm sorry, the mountains are kind of lighter here, and they're less saturated. And like these ones are gonna do the same kind of thing, where the background kind of colors it a bit. The farther away something is, the less detailed it's going to be, and the more it's going to look like the color of the sky, if that makes sense. Does that make sense, or should I explain that differently? It's fine if it doesn't make sense. I can understand if it doesn't. Okay. Yeah. Good. I'm glad you. Yes. I'm glad you know science. Alright, so now we're going to make some more layers. Keep that one. Now we're going to do a line of closer trees, or my mistake, hills. Just going to take that, make it a bit green and a bit brown, even though I don't really want to do green and brown. I think that is the wrong color right there. But it's also darker than the mountains in the distance because, again, they're closer. They have less particles in the air. So they have a lot less atmospheric perspective coming in to screw everything up. Alright. In fact, I'm putting just a slight highlight on here because it's like that in the picture. Although it's not so much of a highlight as it is just slight details of the farthest mountain. But, you know, it makes it look more real. School. And in front of that is a layer. Oh, by the way, the mountains and hills are on their own layer. So the things I have on their own layer, this thing right here we're working on, the farthest mountains, the water, and the sky. So at the moment I've got 4 layers, but I'm going to merge all of the layers that have mountains on them when I'm done, or mountains / hills, whatever. Oops, what did I do? Pickle didn't do anything. There's whatever the hell this thing is. Don't know. Okay, make this kind of darker. I'm not really sure what these things are, and something that works really well in drawing something new is that you can, if you draw something upside down, it makes it more accurate, I guess. or if you're not sure what something is, like, I mean, I can zoom in and I can see, like, there's some trees here, there's some, I don't know, um, not water right there, because there's nothing reflecting the sky, so that's how you know there's no water where I just pointed. Um, so if you just, like, kind of try to make that shape slash color, it'll look fine, because you don't have to know what something is to be able to draw it in a picture if you're using a reference. It helps though. Like, let's say you've never seen a human being and you don't know how to draw hands, so you do your best reasoning on how a hand would look. And I mean, does that make sense? I don't know. Yeah, yeah. I definitely think it helps. Oh, I shouldn't have done that, because okay, so now we're going to do the thing that I always say we don't do. So now we're going to vertically flip the mountains from the very back. It's not what, stop it, please, thank you. Okay. And if you notice, these aren't actually, these are covered up a bit by that background layer I made, like this layer. So we're going to move some things a bit like that. Yeah, so just a sandbag. It is an English word. Or, I can't say it's an English word, but it's a word we use, yeah. Also, because of the sandbank, the place where you would normally flip the horizon line is higher up than where all the sandbank stuff starts. So I flipped it lower down here, so now that I'm really quickly drawing out this mountain, like the dark mountain I made, it's gonna be, it's gonna look like it's shorter in the reflection because there is that sandbank there. And we're almost done, and I'm very happy because I'm hungry. Yay, hungry. Hungry for waffles. Yes. Alright, so let's just fix some things. The clouds could still use some work, you know. Let's see. Yeah, I used. It's if you have Photoshop, it's this brush. Like, you see this one where it looks like lines, and if I use it as a brush rather than for blending, it looks like this. See? Whee. I don't think you do. I have a lot of I have a lot of brushes that I've not stolen. Okay, so not counting the reference layer, I have 4 layers. We'll start at the bottom. So this is the sky layer. This is the reflection of the sky. This is the mountain range and the reflection of it. And this is that sandbank area. I'm going to add a few more things real quick and then I'm done. I think I need some softer looking, like some of the clouds don't look soft enough, which I like. I like the clouds having a hard texture in some places, but I'm trying to teach more a realistic style than stylized style, for lack of a better term. Although, I guess I'm trying to teach you how she draws. But mostly, I guess, for this one, I did like how to draw landscape in general rather than that. So, if I wanted to very quickly teach you kind of how she does that, I would use this, make something like this right here with, uh, and this part would definitely reflect something like this over here. It would reflect some of the clouds a bit, some of the sky. You have to, like, when you draw stuff like this, you have to think about, like, where reflections would be, but also why. So, like, over here, this might give an orange reflection because that's where the water is. So, assuming that your assuming that this is your not your focal point, I'm sorry. This is your 1 point perspective. And you just kind of make a bunch of whatever lines you want. That if you draw a person here, their eye line is going to be right here, which is just like she has here. The eye line is where the sun is. So I'm just quickly going to add a figure. You know this one? I'm just going to add the same drawing. Yeah. Well, the eyes are the same level. Yeah. It's just, perspective. So she's, her eyes right now are actually above the horizon line. And that's because if they weren't, then she herself would be on a, like right now she's standing on like a rock or something. Okay. Here's some, I don't know, rocks. Things for the highlights to pick up. Get rid of that. Oops. Just a second. Let me just draw the thing real quick, and then I'll tell you if you're right or not. Whoops, what did it? This is just kind of random, whatever. I'm just trying to make her look like she's not falling over. Alright, so just combine this in general. We can move it down here, and if we move it down here, then this feels like you're on a lake, and she's just kind of on a sandbank kind of rock area. This would also cast some rippling, and I know how much you like your ripples, so you'd have some ripples like this, and you'd do something like this around. So this would be, since it's on her eye level, God, her head is way too big. Okay. Secret better butt. Better butt. Alright, so her eyes are well, I was trying to make her look like the one right here. Just in, a very small way. Because the size of this photo apparently is only this big. I did not mean for that. But whatever. It's, shit happened. So there's this. Now, if you want her to be on a cliff or something, you would make her bigger. And you'd make her up here. So she can look out onto everything. You would take away this, your favorite ripple effect stuff. This would all get a shadow, a very long shadow from her. Like that. So now it looks like she's standing on a rock, for example, and she's looking out over the lake or whatever. Another way to do this would be to lower this in general. That actually looks more accurate. However, I don't suggest doing that this far into the drawing. So you can change the perspective of the girl, the viewer, and how high up she is. Now you were saying something about, say it again, I'm sorry. I'm pretty sure what you said was correct though. No, that's not accurate. And I will use this for an example. So the horizon line on this one is, it's up here. So it's just kind of over her head, and we're above her. So what you're saying is that she's above us because her eyes are higher than the horizon line? She's not. We're on. Yeah. Um, it's hard. I don't know how to explain this, but just because she's above it doesn't mean she. Because okay, this is hard. I'm sorry. So the horizon line could actually be in a different part. It could be. Let's get a new layer for this. The horizon line could be down here, technically, for example. That's not a good color. Let's get yellow for that. Okay. So this could be your ugly horizon line. Not a good color choice. And it could be right here because we're in the mountains. And if the mountains, let's say, we could be in a mountain that has a lake in it. And if you look over the mountains, like in between her head and where the mountains are, on the far left middle area, right here could be the horizon line, like the yellow thing I made that won't let me. Okay, there. Like right now, the horizon line is here, for example. But it could be anywhere below that line because it's being covered up. It's not likely to be, but I would say that it's lower than what it. I'd say it's actually lower than this. It perspectively, like if you have her in the image, because her head goes up here, sure, but the rest of her body is below it, and you have the shadow here, which is actually on the wrong side, but it doesn't really matter. I'm sorry I can't explain this better, but I've never had to explain this before. But that's not always the truth, what you said. If she was completely above us, she'd be here. No matter what. If the horizon line was this far down to where her feet and her head and everything in between were like that. But it depends on the pose. Okay, I'm really sorry. I apologize again. I'm having a hard time putting this into words. But the answer is not necessarily. Is that okay? The answer is not necessarily. No. It's just mostly, it's just like people kind of give you broad terms like that because it's a lot easier to say that than it is to say, well, technically there's this and that. Like, the phrase I before E except after C. It's not always like that. Also, I think you're like 30 seconds lagging behind me. But, so I think that's enough. It's about 2 hours, with that extra, like, it is, I'm sorry. You do have a lot of lag, but it's because it's been on this long, and, you didn't refresh at all, and I forgot to tell you to. I'm going to do one last thing. I'm going to use a gradient tool, and I'm going to give it a small frame of darker color. You'll understand what I mean in a second. Okay, that's not what I wanted. That is the opposite. Not quite. Still not quite. You see what I'm doing here? I'm kind of framing it with a very dark color. And then you're just going to make it lighter. So, yeah, so normally it looks like this, but you make it a bit lighter. Um, and oh, hello. I'm just showing you this, that you can make your corners a bit darker. Ooh, that worked really well, actually. There. So now, this is before, this is after, before, after, before, after. And I think it helps with some of the vivid colors. My clouds could look a lot more like clouds, but I just wanted to show you how to use like bright colors, perspective, how to build clouds, which I hope you understand is from a mid color slash a flat color, then put on highlights and then put on shadow. Just like anything. Although technically you should put the shadow on first, if it's like a human. But for something like this, for clouds, I would say put the highlight on first. And yeah, I'm gonna again apologize that I didn't get around to everything I could have. Oh, shit, sorry. Um, yeah, okay. You mean like after drawing it? After I've drawn it, I would say the focal point is now, around here. This is the left. Just kind of this area in general is probably the focal point. You like this area? Or that's where you think the focal point is? Okay, that's fine. Yeah, I know you don't know. It's fine. That's what I'm teaching you. Alright, well, I'm gonna go. Oh, Psych just got back. Well, too bad, Psych. I will post this, soon. It's 2 hours long. Yeah. So there's no reason to really break it up, other than I don't know, it's just very slow because I wanted to make sure you saw, like, all the brush marks I was making, and, like, everything I was doing as I did it. Normally, if I was doing this, it would probably take me an hour or less. So, if you want homework for this, I will post of some photos of landscapes, and I'll fix them, like the saturation that you guys really wanted, like like this thing that you guys liked, the saturation on that. Although my saturation is a lot. Hmm? No, the saturation isn't about color. It's okay. Well, I'll include some what I think will be easy landscapes, and I'll make sure that they have clouds like this, or involve making clouds, because that's a lot of what I taught you, and also like other shapes and water. So I assume that's good. We don't have any more questions or anything. Okay, cool. I'll do my best to remember to post. Yeah, I figured you had plenty of questions, which is fine, because I mean you're learning, and the more questions the better, honestly, because it means you're listening and you're actually curious and intent on learning, and etc. So I do. Purple. Well, if we bring it, like, here's the original. I didn't very much stick to it. I did for a while, and then I was like, yeah, I like doing my own thing. What up, Psych? Oh, no, I'm just going between them, because he was asking about why I was using purple earlier for the clouds instead of blue, and that's because you have to put down a color in between the highlights and the shadow, and the shadow was blue, and the highlights were pink, so areas where I was going to put any highlight or shadow, I just put purple there so that I could go over it later, literally over it, and put in pink, some reds, a little bit of orange, and the dark blue. I don't know if you were there when I was trying my best not to be a bitch about it, but I did my best. No, that it was the opposite. It was that he didn't understand why I was putting down purple, which I was putting down purple, instead of dark blue for the clouds, or bright pink. And what I was trying to explain was, like, if you draw a pony that you want to highlight and shade, you're going to put down the flat color first. Like, um, Fluttershy. Her flat color is like yellow. Um, so the yellow is like the flat color, the mid-tone, and that would be purple for the clouds. The highlight for Fluttershy would be a very light yellow, while on the clouds it would be the bright pink. And the shade, or the shadows for Fluttershy would be like a, I don't know, like a kind of goldenrod, orangish color, and the shadows on the clouds are like an indigo blue. And he was very confused why I was drawing the clouds in purple. But the purple cloud is like drawing Fluttershy in all yellow, like her skin color. So I guess the skin color for the clouds was purple. It was hard to explain. It's still kind of hard to explain, but I go over it a lot in the video. And if you just, if you watch it, you'll understand what I'm doing rather than if you listen to me. I don't know if that helps. Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't. Yeah, but you can see it. Like I have the reference picture up now, and you can see it, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-mm. Midtone. Yeah, and I am highly aware that I gave a lot more texture to the clouds than I did, or that it originally had. But I don't know. I like very textured clouds. I think they look better. Oh, and Psych, I actually put up a girl that I might have deleted. Nope, there she is. I put this girl here, and I moved her around to places because that's what I said I was gonna do in the first place. Like how this girl is, and that really kind of confused Sir Stephen Seagal, unfortunately. But and then I couldn't actually explain it properly either. It's how I perceive the ground to be technically, but it's not always true. Because if you're inside, then you won't know the horizon line. If you're inside a house, you won't know unless you sit there and maybe you take a picture and you trace all of the lines that are going left and right and stuff, and you figure out where they connect to make a 2-point perspective normally, or a 1 point. But most likely, if you're in your house and you take a picture, it's probably 2-point perspective. I said, okay, yes, you are. I don't think you understand the difference between 1 and 2 point perspective, or rather, like what it looks like. Because if it's 1 point, that means you can only see one side of everything, basically. Um, God, it's so hard to explain. I don't. No, I'm not going to go over that. I'm going to try to. Um, okay, I have a perspective challenge. I will link it to you in the challenge room after this. Okay, and I think it might help you because it's not something I can really explain. All right. Well, I'll be in the chat. Thank you for what? No, what? Tell me what. What? It is. Here, I will sketch a damn thing. Okay. Okay, look. Right here, this is 1 point perspective. Okay. Yep. Alright, good. Now I'm going to make a box, like you said. We'll make it a little orangish red. Now you want a cube or you want a box? Because here is one side of a cube. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. Also, excuse me. Okay. Okay, in point perspective. No. Listen to me. Okay, this is 1 point perspective, right? Right. So if the cube is in front of the line anywhere in front of the 1 point, we're only going to see this much. We will not see any more of any side of the cube. We will only see this square. To make that different, you have to bring the focal point, like, out, or not, I'm sorry, you have to bring the cube, like, out here somewhere. Uh, okay. Now, okay. This can still be a 2-inch box. Okay. 2 by 4. 2 by 5. Yes, please, like, you might understand. Okay, but let me, yeah? Yeah, do some still life, but what he's confused about is he's trying to figure out how tall above us or below us she is. And that's not something I can really tell you. And I can't tell you that because we aren't there at the scene. We don't know how tall she is. You can make assumptions, but then you'd have to make things next to her that are just as tall. So if I put this box right here, pretend the box is standing next to her, depending where the box is, like, we'll put it right here. The box is now, I don't know, probably, let's say she's 5 feet tall. Not very tall. She's 5 feet tall. This box is probably 4.5 feet tall. But at the same time, it doesn't look taller than her because it's closer to the viewer. See, it's closer to the viewer, and it's sitting behind her. I can also blur her out like that. And again, if it's one point and any part of the point is covered by the box, you're only going to see the box, like just this one side. So, trying to make her, God, this is, okay. She's holding a Christmas present next to her head. Like here, like she's holding it here. Yeah, her eye level's above us, but she herself is not above us. It depends on, God, this depends on a lot of things, because I told you, like, the horizon line I have here can be anywhere. It can be down here. It can be over here. I have it here for now. But imagine, okay, I don't care. I've tried to explain this, like, earlier for, I don't know, 10 minutes, and then you bring it back up, and I did my best, and I don't think I understand your point, and I don't think you understand what I'm trying to say, so I'd like you to just go watch a video on perspective, because um, I have been doing this. I mean, this one itself is 2 hours and 15 minutes, but we were dicking around with it before for another hour and a half, and I'm pretty burnt out. So right now, it's not easy for me to try to think about what you're trying to say. Um, right now, if you look at the picture right now, we are not necessarily below her. And I know that might be freaking you out. Because we're on a different level than her. We can see her feet like this. Her feet are below us. Her hips are below us. So she's not, like, her entire body is not below us. If she were to be below us, or, I'm sorry, above us, she would need to be completely up here. Now, she is above us. If she were down here, she would be completely below us. If she were bending over and her head was down here instead, her eye line would still be here. This would still be her eye line, even if she were bending over here. Does that make sense at all? Okay, well, I'm just gonna tack this up to, uh, I've, I've been in this game for a very long time, and I, I know that I know what I'm talking about, and I would hope that you'd trust me because I've also been helping everybody else out for 5 or 6 years. And I've been in, like, it doesn't matter. I don't need to fucking flaunt my whatever. But I know a lot more about this than you do. I'm sorry. But also there's the communication problem because I know that English is not your first language. I know, but the problem is I really want to help you, but I'm not explaining it well enough. Hmm? What was the last thing? No, I know you do, but I'm not sure I understand what you're trying to say. Okay. But I just want you to know. Okay. Well, let me explain why it's confusing. No, I think I know why you're confused. Okay? So, let's take her. She's over here. I'm going to take away her little thing she's standing on. Because the thing that she's standing on is above the lake. And it's probably not as high as the mountains per se, but it was above the lake. So she was already elevated, and we were elevated above her. So that also matters. It matters where the viewer is, where she is, related to the viewer, of course, and if she's below or above the horizon line, and whether we're below or below her horizon line. Because we have a different horizon line than she does, where she's standing on her little hill right here. Does that make sense? That she has a different horizon line than we do. Okay. So I'm going to take away her little thing here. So if I take away her thing and I give her the same horizon line we have, she would be... I'd say she'd be down... I have to make her smaller because she's compared to the size of the lake. Let's see, she's standing... Let me cut off her legs real quick. We're going to say that she's now standing in the lake. So we don't need her feet anymore. So let's say she's standing in the lake. She could be standing in the lake right here, and we're above her. Because she's below our horizon line. And this is our horizon line. So if she's anywhere under here, she's below us. Now I'm going to bring her up higher. Let's say she's up here because she has jetpack shoes. She's higher than us. Higher than us. Higher than us. This is about equal to us. I know that her eyes are up here, but her body is like, there we go. Her body is now halfway below and halfway above the horizon line. So now she's on level with us, basically. I mean, maybe. Because we're above the lake. The viewer is above the lake, and she's not. She's stuck in the lake somewhere, I think. Um, this is the most obnoxious thing I've had to explain in a while. I'm just gonna say that, and I'm sorry. I don't blame you. I tried to explain it earlier, and I thought you would drop it by now, but you didn't, so I'm trying. I made her a little bigger so you can see her better. I find it easy because I don't need to know why this matters. So, like, okay, so what are you trying to understand from this? Like, what are you trying to get? What, what, what's important about this for you to learn? Okay. Okay. Look, she has a new friend. Let me get rid of I'm getting rid of the background right now. We're gonna keep that thing up. So now, I'll bring it down here somewhere. She has a new friend. Her new friend is taller than her, so they have a different perspective. Okay, you get that. Um, let's say this person is crouching on their knees, like this, except, their knee, their, can you please do what I'm asking? They're bent like this or something instead. Okay, so if you have two people that are like this, yes, they have the same horizon. Assuming this person, no, that's not how it works. Okay, this person is taller than her. Their eye line is higher than her. She has a different horizon line. So now let's bring them down here. So now this is her horizon line. This would be okay. Like, they would have the same horizon line here, even though this one is taller. So if you want them to have the same horizon line, you like do this, and if you make her a certain amount of space away from her, they'll still be near each other, but like now they're farther apart. Okay, just anybody at this height in the picture with their eyes here, no matter where they are, as long as their eyes are here, however big they are or scrunched over, no, don't, no. Just censor that. Oh, God, I don't. This is so frustrating. I don't want to do it at all, honestly, because I don't understand the. I don't. The viewer will be anywhere, alright? The viewer is not always at the same eye line or same horizon line that the characters have. Right now, we are. We're slightly above them. But this isn't what I wanted to do today. I've already done perspective before. I'm hungry, and I don't. This is just. This is trivial to me. Yeah, I mean, just if you could Google it or find somebody that hasn't been sitting here for 5 hours, you know. So I'm gonna turn off the stream. I'm gonna like eat some stuff. Maybe I'll come back and not on stream, but maybe I'll come back and ask you in the chat. But for now, I'm gonna shut the stream off, and I will save the video, of course. I'm gonna chop off this last half hour, 40 minutes. Um, okay. I'm sorry I wasn't able to fix this for you. I understand why it would be important for like a picture of two people, but other than that, I don't really understand what you wanted to do otherwise. So I'm sorry. I did my best. Yes, I know. I really gotta go though. Um, Yeah, I think if you get some sleep, cause yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. Well, again, sorry, but maybe if you get some sleep and you come back, you can ask me more about it. But for now, I'm gonna shut it off. Thank you to people that came by. I will post this sometime today or tomorrow. And yeah, uh, just you go to bed, and when you wake up, you're welcome. Yeah. All right. Goodbye.